There's one big missed opportunity that can actually make all the difference in growing on YouTube. And we're going to uncover exactly how you can take advantage of it and reach your goals coming up.
Hey, welcome to the Video Creators Podcast presented by vidIQ. You know how you put a lot of time and energy into your YouTube channel for not nearly enough growth? Yep, we get it. We are here today to help you change that.
Hello creators, how are you guys? Welcome back to another Video Creators episode brought to you by vidIQ, like we do every Monday for you. Here I am hanging out with Sam and Ingrid, two of the strategists on the team. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
Great.
It's almost 2024.
It is, man. The year has flown by. It has, honestly, I was sitting down on the couch yesterday. I was like, I can't even believe that it's December. Like, the Christmas decorations are up. I feel like I just took them down. And, but question for you guys, what is kind of like your biggest takeaway from YouTube this year?
That's a great question. I think for me, the resurgence of vlogging and people wanting to slow down from all the fast-paced content. That's been definitely a trend I've noticed over the year for sure.
Yeah, that was going to be mine too. I feel like, I know from my perspective, I've gotten bored of watching the fast-paced content, the loudness. I just can't handle it anymore. Maybe it's just as I'm getting older now, I don't know. But it's just like, I just find it exhausting. So
I agree though.
Yeah, like even the surge of like, was it Sam Suyak coming out? Like his channel blowing up, like just being non-edited, him just chatting. It's like, that to me is just, or even Life of Riza, like the proof of people liking the more calm, the more just chatty, the more authentic content. And that's where I've been finding my mind going to want to watch too. Even thumbnail wise too. Those thumbnails seem to I gravitate towards more now than I did the more extravagant ones I see of Mr. Beast a little bit.
Well, it's kind of interesting you bringing up Mr. Beast there really quickly. Even his content just recently has slowed down. It's not as fast-paced. A lot more storytelling. He's leaning into that lot less yelling. So maybe that is a sign of what's to come in 2024. I don't know. What about you, Sam?
That's kind of the same thing for me too. I think it's just been interesting to see, like, as we're progressing further into like the YouTube universe, I feel like there are channels or types of videos that are kind of like, it's almost like tongue-in-cheek, like purposely unoptimized, that makes them really optimized somehow. Yeah, so honestly, it's been nice to see things like that, and it's refreshing. And I'm also just tired of like the just super fast paced, just hacking the algorithm, hacking the editing to just make it as fast as possible. I hope that's the direction we go for 2024. I think that'd be really nice.
If I were to add one more in there, the rise of AI too, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I am enjoying a lot of the AI music channels, I will have to say.
Really?
Especially over the holidays. Yeah.
Interesting.
As a side note, we posted yesterday, someone in one of the Slack, though, this new AI that's coming out where you just upload a picture and it'll animate that photo. So the fact that we can do that now too, or that's coming out, it's like I just seeing channels just generate AI art, upload it to another AI to generate new animations, and they look incredible. Like I looks like Pixar made it. It's wild. So
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, another thing that I've noticed is I think there are more and more call to actions. I think as we're like progressing into things, and YouTube is even doing newer updates, like if you say the word subscribe, like the subscribe button glows. True. I think there's just a lot of that happening. So I figured it could be kind of a good conversation to just sort of hone in on call to actions and just talk through like, how do you effectively get the viewer to engage with the thing you're calling them to action for? So Ingrid's very excited.
This is one of my favorite topics.
So maybe just to kind of like kick us off, like, why is it important in the first place to try to give a call to action to get your viewer to take action on something?
Why not? Sorry, that's a psychological thing, I think.
No, that's good. I thought you were going to unpack that more.
No, I don't think it needs unpacking. I mean, here's the thing. If you're spending all this time creating content, why not have your viewer take an action of some kind? What, you just want it to end? I mean, YouTube's entire goal is to keep people longer on the platform. So getting your viewer to engage in some way intentionally, that's the key, intentionally. Why not do that?
I think it all depends on your goals too, what you're trying to accomplish. I mean, why not take the time to do the call to action, but also have a clear direction of where you're trying to go with it at the same time. So, I mean, if you're trying to make a business on YouTube or trying to get leads to your business, then yeah, you're going to want to make those call to actions rather than not doing anything at all sometimes. But yeah, it depends on your goals.
Yeah, what do you feel like separates? Go ahead, Ingrid.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll go in a new direction.
I was just going to say, I mean, and that's the key though, right? Blake, is being intentional. You know, if you're a business, obviously if you want to make a sale or you want to get people to the thing that you're doing, so you're going to do an intentional call to action that takes them off the platform. If you're looking to, and even before that, you need to grow the know, like, and trust factor. So you need to intentionally ask about engagement. And even before that, we need to actually bring in people to us in the first place. And that would be by intentionally sending somebody to watch more, because that's something that the algorithm, this would be Alfie on this day, is really looking for.
Well, here's a question. How do you guys feel about like and subscribe call to actions? Well,
if that's the goal, then it's fine, as long as it's not in the first 30 seconds, because I don't know you, so why would I?
Yeah.
I think if you want me to like and subscribe your video, you got to give me a real deep reason to. And it has to make sense, because I've been seeing some interesting like or subscribe actual call to actions this year, I think, from a lot of creators. Have you guys also been noticing the same thing?
There was actually one from a creator that I clicked subscribe because it was such a strong call to action. It was a gaming channel, and then he had a break from the screen capture that he was doing, and it was him and his dog. And I'm a big dog person. If you're watching, my dog's on the couch right behind me. And he was like, if you subscribe, for every person that subscribes, I'm going to give my dog a kiss. And then he kissed his dog. Aww. And I was like, I got to click subscribe. He got me. He pulled the emotional heartstrings. So that was a new one for me. Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah. For me, when they work it in as part of the content, really, and, you know, and it has to make sense in the story. You don't want to break forward momentum for that kind of a call to action, unless that's really what you're looking to do at that point and you don't care about the rest of the video. So, but if it becomes really a part of the video, like, it makes sense. You know, this is why people subscribe to this channel, because it's content like blah, 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 or whatever that thing is. Then I'm going to most likely really consider subscribing at that point, because you've been delivering value, right? It's when they do it right away that I can't. That's just I leave the video. I leave the video.
I can't say I've ever actually clicked when someone's giving me a call to action to subscribe. Like, I usually just, like, again, I'll see their content pop up, or I will just go search for it again if I know their name, or I don't know. I've never really. I have friends who I've watched YouTube with literally turn a video off as soon as someone asks to subscribe. They don't want it. They always say, stop begging for subscribers. I'm like, oh, and then they're very harsh people, but they did it. But I'm curious though too, with the new features being added in, like the glowing, like, how do you guys feel about that? Like, are they encouraging people to do it more? Or
I was kind of curious about that too.
Honestly,
yeah, I was like,
it's a distraction,
because we know it's not tied in algorithmically at all. I think that is a big misconception. It's like, because you hear creators say it a lot too. It's like, leave me a like. It really, really helps me out. And it doesn't do anything algorithmically. So it doesn't make much of a difference.
It's weighted, but it's so small. And that's the thing that people don't realize. Is it weighted? Yes, it's weighted, but it's very small because it's something that can be gamed.
Yeah.
And anything in YouTube's eyes, anything that can be gamed is classified as a bug.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. For me too, with likes, like, I don't even look at them when I watch a video. Like, I don't care if the video has a lot of dislikes or likes. I always watch the video and give it a shot anyways too. So that's my personal viewing habits though too. Like, I don't look at it, don't care about it a whole lot. It's from a viewing perspective.
Yeah. I go to the comments first.
I click like usually if I really have enjoyed the video, but not from a sense of, anybody asking me to. I usually click like because I've actually enjoyed the video.
Yeah.
And that's why. It's the same reason why I subscribe generally. I don't usually subscribe because somebody asks me, but if somebody made a real great pitch and I wasn't subscribed and I actually enjoyed the content and it would be something that I would consider, then I might. But in general, I don't subscribe also because somebody tells me to.
Yeah.
It has the opposite effect.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, it does.
It does. It's interesting. Maybe I'm just a bad person, but it's very rare that I click like or I click subscribe. I think, especially with subscribing, there's just no need to. Like YouTube is so good at its job. It knows what I like to watch. I'll have like years go by where I've watched this one channel for a long time and I love them. And then just one day it just happened yesterday, out of the blue, I was like, oh, I'm not subscribed to them. I'm just going to go ahead and subscribe. Yeah. It's more of a like pat on the back. Like I'll just add this another number to their count, even though I know it doesn't really mean anything. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting that it just matters less and less. So
it's funny because we're getting stuck on like and subscribe, which is probably the least call to action that the three of us would ever encourage a creator to say, right?
Yeah. But here's my thought though too. It's like we know the weight it holds on a video, but if I'm a viewer who doesn't know much about YouTube, it could be their way of thinking they're helping support that person too, and that's why they want to do it as well, right? But for me, I'm like, I know regardless of what I do, it's not going to do anything for you, but maybe it's just our biased opinions.
Yeah. Well, I think that's where it's interesting why YouTube is adding updates like the flashing subscribe button. I'm curious if like on YouTube on this episode, the subscribe button is going to be flashing because we keep saying subscribe.
Subscribe.
Test that.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
Like a raise goes off. Yeah.
Yeah. But would you, is there a time and place where either of you would recommend giving a subscribe call to action?
Yeah. At the end of a trailer for sure. Because that's the whole point. That's being intentional. The whole purpose of a trailer is to help get the viewer to understand the value that you deliver. And then at the end, don't do anything. Don't put any end screens up. Don't do anything else. You ask for the actual subscribe and maybe hit the notification bell and end the video abruptly so that the big subscribe button comes up for them to click. So there, it's extremely intentional. But other than that, it would be considered for me on a community piece of content, that type of a call to action. Again, this all goes back to what we said in the very beginning. What's the intent behind the video? If the intent is some sort of engagement, subscribe would be considered engagement. However, I don't think that's the best form of call to action for engagement.
What's the most important? Yeah. What's going to have the most weight to it? Yeah. So that's why I like pushing someone to, or not pushing them, but like persuading them to watch another video or encouraging to watch another video. That's going to have the most gain for you in terms of your video getting surfaced.
Not for community content though. I'll push back there. Yeah, right. Because I was talking about community content. So for community content, I feel like really getting somebody to engage in a true way in the comment section. And that doesn't mean adding first. Now there's a million people adding that now. It's really like, and you would do that by asking an open-ended question, but something that's really going to spark conversation. Because for you guys, what are the benefits of that?
People realize you're accessible. I think people now it's more it breaks the fourth wall. You're no longer someone you're watching on screen, but it's like, hey, it's someone I can chat with now as well too. Because especially when you're a smaller creator, a lot of people will take the time to go through the comments. So I have some people who have their regulars that will show up and chat with them, but they appreciate that, right?
Yeah. There's a really interesting report. I feel like we talked about this a couple months ago. A really interesting report that YouTube put out, and it was kind of like about viewing patterns and like why people watch YouTube. Like they did a lot of psychological studies and stuff. It was super, super interesting. But they were saying that nowadays viewers are so intertwined with the creator that the viewers are almost like co-creators at this point, because it's like the barrier between the creator and the viewer is so small at this point that viewers, when they feel a sense of connection or like they're leaving comments and they're engaging with the creator, they feel a sense of like co-ownership with them. So I think there's like a really strong psychological thing too. If you can get somebody compelled to leave a comment and engaging with you, you're going to feel almost like a co-creator on this person's channel and be much more likely to come back and watch on another day too. So I think there's a lot of like power in a comment call to action for sure.
And maybe that's why a lot of people aren't watching TV anymore and they're watching YouTube instead.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, think about like our lives in general. Everything has become so digital. We're all on social media sites. I mean, you're on one right now, YouTube, or you're listening on, Spotify or Apple Music or whatever that thing, wherever you're consuming this, and you're not interacting with a human. So this is a way to also be a part of a community beyond just watching content. I know that for me, I don't watch TV anymore at all. We canceled cable.
Same.
Completely. Yeah.
Same here.
Just don't. So
I agree.
I think that's a very, very interesting point of view, Sam. Definitely. Yeah. So I feel like, how do we make this practical for everybody?
Yeah. Well, I feel like we keep talking about maybe straying away unless it's your goal, but like maybe straying away from like and subscribe, call to actions. And you guys have mentioned a few times, like, well, we want to get them watching another video. Maybe let's unpack that. Like, why is that important?
Let me ask you, Sam, what happens when you watch 5 or 10 of someone's videos?
A question. Answer my question with a question. I like it. Yeah. When I watch several, and this is actually why it doesn't matter really if I subscribe or not, because if I watch several videos in a row from a creator that I really like, they basically just follow me around on the homepage for the next couple weeks. YouTube's really, really good, and it's creepy, but they're really, really good at knowing exactly the types of videos that I'm probably going to watch, because at the end of the day, YouTube's just trying to keep people on YouTube longer. So if they have a good idea of what I'm probably going to click on, they're going to keep putting that creator or those types of videos in front of me. So yeah, if you can effectively just get somebody to the next video, it kind of bypasses. It's like, you don't really need to get them to subscribe, because if you can get them doing this instead, it's way more likely they're going to keep watching you, keep them on YouTube longer. So
it's interesting though. Call to actions, though, I think are a little bit of a science, and there are a lot of traps and pitfalls I think that creators fall into, especially clients that I've worked with over the years. I was just analyzing somebody's channel this morning, and the channel does a ton of sales content, which of course we need to have a conversation around. That just in itself, every video cannot be a sales call to action. But it was interesting. Like, I found so many videos, even short videos, where they're doing the call to actions right in the middle of the video, and then continuing on. So I think that we need to definitely, at some point in this episode, have a practical conversation around the science of a proper call to action. What do you guys think?
Oh, I love it.
Okay, cool.
Let's do it. But maybe before we get to that, with that particular type of video, maybe we can sort of dissect what is an effective call to action to get somebody into the next video? Where do we put it? What are maybe some pitfalls someone can run into? What are some best practices? How do we just get that person to have the highest opportunity to engage in that call to action?
What part of that do you want us to answer first?
It's an open-ended question.
But here's the thing, though, because Sam asked us several things.
Yeah.
And so this is actually the perfect example. He just asked us several different things. And this is a common trap that a lot of creators do. Like and subscribe, leave me a comment. And then, oh, by the way, here are 4 other videos for you to watch if you want to watch more.
Don't be like me, guys. Don't be like
That's 7 different things. Yeah. Which one do you want me to take? Which thing do you want me to do?
How about, where do we start crafting a good call to action?
There you go. All right. I think it all begins with, what's the intent of the video? What's your intent? What's your intention? Are you looking to create a longer watch session? Are you looking to engage with your community because you're doing a day in the life video? It's a community video. Are you looking to move me off the platform because you're looking to send me to your mailing list, or you have a brand deal and you want to get to their website, or you have a product that you're looking to sell? What's the intent behind the actual piece of content that you are creating that day?
So once we've so let's decide we're doing a discoverable video, and we're just trying to do a call to action to get the viewer from this video to go watch another one. Like, where do we take it from there?
Pick one video or pick one playlist. have one clear direction for them to follow. It's a lot more again, it's now, because again, same idea of giving too many options. Same with the video. If you give them too many options to pick from, and it might not be like what is the best fit for them to watch afterwards that would make the most sense for them to follow.
Yeah, I think really also thinking, when you are thinking of your title and the thumbnail in the beginning, where do you want them to end up afterward? And knowing that before you make your video, not afterward. Mm-hmm. So just like what Blake said, what's the most natural thing for them to watch next? Because there has to be some sort of through line, because that's language to the algorithm, right? That this one odd person who likes this piece is going to like this other piece. So it's starting to understand who the viewers are also between content, which can be a powerful, powerful connection. I think of it as language. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think a big trap is just putting too many elements in the end screen. Like I always recommend just put one video there. Like don't give the viewer a decision to make at the end of your video, because I think there's a mindset of let's just put as many things as possible. We'll put a couple of videos, we'll put the subscribe badge, and like they've got to click something and do something at the end of the video. But I think most of the time, the second there's more than one element there, nothing gets clicked, like nothing happens. So I agree. I think having intention in like planning ahead of time, like what makes sense for me to send the viewer to next, it actually kind of empowers you a lot as a creator to sort of decide like, well, yeah, what's sort of the viewer journey I'm trying to curate to like get, if we're going to imagine this first time viewer is watching this video, like what do we want to point them to next? What makes sense? Yeah. So yeah, I agree. So we've chosen the video. We know we're going to kind of point to that in this last 20 seconds of your video, kind of in your end screen. I guess from there, like, how would you craft this call to action?
One thing I try to tell people or encourage people is don't give them the option of click, like wanting to click or not to click. Like tell them why they need to click. So the typical you'll hear of like, if you want to watch this next video or if you want to learn more about this, watch this. You're giving me the option now to say yes or no, rather than saying, this will change your perspective on how you do this. Go over there. I will see you there, or something like. Just giving me like a full-on persuasive reason of I need to have this, and I'm missing out if I don't get it. Because now I have that fear of missing out, as opposed to like, oh, I might want to watch it, I might not, but really giving me a strong like, you have to watch this video.
I think when I've worked with clients really deeply on this, and I love what Blake just said, because he's 100% right. That deep why you need to take that action is so important. I'm going to take it even to another level. One of the things that the three of us have all said to clients over the years is, first off, be delivering something of value 5 to 10 seconds into your end screen, so that it doesn't feel like the video is wrapping up. That's the first thing. You have 20 seconds in which to show those end screen elements. I agree with Sam. One only. You don't need to put the subscribe badge at all, because we've been on the back end of many, 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 many videos for clients, and the percentage is so minute of people clicking that. And we're talking, you can have 1 million views and have like 15 people hit that subscribe button. So don't even provide that friction of having 2 things to click on. So 5 to 10 seconds into the end screen, providing value, and then using language like but to shift. So think of it as like 2 loops, like a Venn diagram, right? You're closing the story of the video by still delivering something powerful there at the end, and you're opening a new loop into the most logical next place for somebody to go, and those 2 intersect with the word but. So if we're talking about, I don't know, guys, give me a topic here. We don't have this written down, so this is completely off the cuff.
Water
here.
polo.
Shaving sheep.
Oh, come on, you guys.
That was Blake's actually. Shaving a sheep. Let's do that. I like that one.
Sheep. What's the value I'm giving at the end of the video here? Shaving
you
sheep.
You get wool. You can make a wool blanket. You can make a sweater.
The sheep feels better.
Happy sheep.
Yeah.
shearing. I can't believe I'm even doing this on this topic. Somewhere the audience is just roaring, laughing. Shearing these sheep, it's not only healthy for them. Now you have all this wool left over, but now you have all this wool left over. We have to then be able to make a sweater out of that. I don't know. I'm not doing this very effectively because I don't know I don't know what you would do with all that wool after the shaved sheep.
Yeah. Shaving your sheep is just the first step. But if you really want to know how to use this wool to make the warmest blanket, I actually have a video right over here. Check it out. I'll see you over there.
There you go.
You can use the word but. There's new value. And we know someone listening has the sheep shearing channel, and you can steal that. You can use it.
Like, thank you. Somebody finally picked my niche.
Yeah, they're like, thank you, finally. Oh, I love that.
I love that.
No, I agree, though. I think the most common pitfall is just using the word if at the end of the video. Like, we see this all the time.
So
as well. We see it in retention graphs all the time. It's just as soon as those words are said, there's a decline. People are leaving. It's just
immediate.
If you like this video, that's just YouTuber lingo at this point, and it just doesn't help at all. So I like the Venn diagram is a good visual of like as you're cutting off and ending that loop, opening that new loop immediately, is a really good way to look at it. Like, how can you use the word but to give new value? Open up a new hook to a new video and just be assertive and assumptive with your language.
And that's the right way of looking at it, is because we always say that there's 2 hooks to every video in the beginning, and now you're hooking out into another video at the end. So a really effective call to action will get double-digit people going to that other video. We've seen it. I've seen up to 40% on the back end. And if you have multiple elements on the back end, it's going to make your call to action end screen element, clicks per end screen element shown as the metric that you would be looking for on the advanced tab on the back end. If you have multiple elements, it will make that number smaller. So I encourage you to go into advanced, click more, click end screen element, I believe is the actual thing that you would click. And it then shows you what the real click-through rate for each element is, what the video is compared to the subscribe rate. And that's important as well. Blake's laughing at me because I'm getting very nerdy and geeky with data.
No, I'm laughing because you put a thumbs up and you had a thumbs up pop up.
Yeah, you had the little bubble. The thumbs up bubble popped up.
We got to turn those off.
No, I think that's so important. And I think too, like I get excited and nerd out about this stuff as well, because there's so much value that can be had with just an effective call to action like that. And I think of especially like search-based channels, a lot of their traffic comes from either Google search or YouTube search. And it's just normal for that type of viewer and just their viewing intent to maybe just be a little bit more fickle. They might be a little more likely to abandon your video or like skip ahead through your video. So I think for channels like that, it's even more important to have strong call to actions to sort of link your content together. But what's nice, and I see this a lot with these types of channels too, is typically we'll see they'll have these really explosive videos that have these really high spikes, but they're kind of just isolated. So, you'll have a couple videos here and there that go really, really far. And then all your other videos are like way, way down. It's like very, very bumpy. But if you get, let's say you have a great call to action and you get that one video that goes super far, and then it directly points and gives a great reason to go watch the next video, you're going to raise the traffic on that video too. And you're kind of like raising on a channel level all of your content rather than just kind of one isolated spike. So there's a lot of value in doing it that way too.
Yeah, we think of, and another way of thinking of it is what's the spider web that you're going to create between your content? So when you're creating a piece, you may create them out of order, but link them together differently because it's about linking value to value. It's not necessarily, just picking isolated pieces and randomly putting them together. If you start to think of strategically, even zooming out, maybe you have 5 videos that make sense, not necessarily in a sense of it's a series, but the value of one, we're shearing the sheep, but then we want to take the wool and make the sweater. But then after that, how do we actually, or we shear the sheep first, maybe in between, we learn how to dye the wool. Then we learn how to make the sweater. So now you're linking 3 pieces together and you've created a session for somebody to watch. And that's how you end up on their homepage in the upper left-hand spot, because YouTube recognizes that's the premium spot because it knows you want to watch this piece of content.
Yeah. Blake, you touched on this earlier too, as far as maybe even linking a playlist. That could also be a good opportunity as well. Maybe you have
Super powerful.
a short 3 video series. You could put a short playlist. There's a lot of benefit to that, because then you can do your call to action, point to the playlist, and if you can get them into the playlist, it auto plays, which is really nice. So there's definitely some benefit if those 3 are very related and they all have call to actions linking together. Yeah, playlist can be a great opportunity as well.
I imagine for that sheep video, like all you do is pitch why they need to watch how to build a sweater, and then that could be a series of videos making that sweater.
If this channel's not out there, I'm making this channel. I just got to go find some tomorrow.
He's going to homestead. He's going to homestead sheep so that he can shear them.
I'll be in a new location tomorrow. You just wait.
I think Tim has sheep now.
Does he? We got to get him back.
Tim bought 2 sheep.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He has 2 sheep.
That's so funny.
This is Tim's channel. Yeah, we're going to make him do this.
Yeah. Well, I think this is.
But speaking of Tim, though, I want to bring something up, though, because if this feels, most people, one of the biggest mistakes they make, like we talked about, is they just say, well, here's another video to watch. If you really need some really great examples, go back into the video creator's history when Tim was doing a lot of discoverable content, because he is a master at this, at really giving the viewer a deep why. He delivers solid value into the end screen and then gives you a deep why to click that next one. Watch a couple of those before you go to film your own so that you can get the timing down, because timing matters. So if you don't script your videos out, script your hooks out for sure, because the timing is so important, because otherwise it won't fit in there too.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys. I feel like there's a lot of resistance that creators have around this. Like, it feels salesy maybe, or it feels a bit inauthentic. Do you guys run into this very much?
I find people, when I pitch it to them, they just want to do the like and subscribe call to action. They don't want to do the video.
Same.
one.
Yeah.
Well, it's the easy thing to do, and it's also the thing that they think is going to help the most.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
Yeah, I feel like I've had a lot of creators who just feel like, but that just doesn't feel like me, to sort of do the but blah, 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 blah language. So I've encouraged them to, like, it just takes, you kind of have to find your voice as well. I think everyone's slightly different in how they give that call to action, but I think the concepts are the same. Make it punchy, give them strong value.
One of the things that I would encourage, if this is you listening and you are in this camp, I encourage you to think too of how can you help the viewer with your next piece of content, rather than thinking that it's something that you're trying to get them to do, even though you are. Maybe flipping your perspective a little bit on, you're actually helping somebody with the next step, because this one video makes sense and that you got them to the end. You did the hard work of getting them to the end by being an effective storyteller. What's the next step for them? Because ideally, if you are really doing this well, the video is going to feel abrupt and they're not going to want it to be over. So give them a logical next step that makes sense, because now you're creating an experience versus just a piece of content.
Agreed. And I think with that, you kind of need to have an assumption that this type of video is targeted for the first time viewer who's never watched you before. Because I think as a creator, you can maybe have a mindset of like, well, I've already pointed to this other video before, so I can't ever have a call to action to that one again. But when we're talking specifically about like this discoverable type of video, yeah, exactly that. Like, what do they need? If this is the first time someone is watching you, what do they need to watch next? And then how do we just get them there?
It's funny. I think about the clients that I've worked with that have really started with really, really low clicks per end screen element shown. That's the metric that measures this particular thing. And then seeing them consistently get 25% or higher in this with a lot of views on their videos. I mean, really, truly being experts at this. It took a while. It was clunky. It took them probably a good 6 to maybe 8 times of really focusing in on this to get there. But that next piece was always value driven for the viewer, even though they were intentional about wanting somebody to take an action and that they do get a return on that. It goes back to, the Ryan Trahan thing of making a video as a gift. What's that thing that you're helping your viewer with? And just being really intentional. And I think that whenever you approach something from that place, it never feels salesy or sleazy.
Yeah.
I feel like
I was like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, they don't click on it. So it's not like there's nothing really lost for you, right? So
nope.
Right. Yeah. I feel like we also need to take a moment just to realize that Ingrid brought up Ryan Trahan before I did.
Yes, I did. Before Sam. I did that just for you, Sam.
I don't know what to do right now. I'm at a loss. I'm so surprised.
It's like his thing.
I know. That's all I've got.
We focused a lot on discoverable content, and we've talked a little bit about community content. I don't know if maybe we need to talk about community content a little bit more. We haven't really talked about sales content at all, because that's totally different.
Agreed. Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Sure. All right. Well, I'll go. How about that? Okay. Sales content. This one's a tricky one, and it's important, but it's also like, it's like playing with fire. You got to be careful with how much you use it, right? Too, at the same time, because of what you're actually doing. Now, it's beneficial because obviously if you're a business or you're a consultant or something and you're trying to drive sales to your program, yes, 100% it makes sense. And that's, using it on YouTube is great. But also understanding what YouTube, the platform as a whole, and what they're trying to do is keep people on the platform. Why? Because they service ads, they make money through that. If someone's leaving the platform, they're assuming, okay, someone's not satisfied. That's a negative viewer signal. Maybe this video wasn't satisfying for them. Again, depends on the intent of what we're trying to accomplish. If I know, hey, I'm just trying to get a sale, I don't care how the video performs. That's not the goal right now. I know my audience will watch it. They're here. Then I'm going to do a sales call to action of pitching you to go to my website, going to that brand's website, whatever it may be, knowing that there are some ramifications to that where the video may not perform as well as it normally might. It could, it happens, but it may not be, the typical views you're used to.
Yeah, I think it can be a trap to sell in every video. I think a couple of things happen. I think exactly what you just said. I think it sort of shoots yourself in the foot. It's hard to grow a channel that way. But when that's happening, you're also just selling to the same audience over and over and over. So I think there needs to be sort of a ratio or a balance between, we want to have the discoverable videos where we're getting people in, and the whole purpose of these videos is extending the viewing session, because that also creates trust too. Like a first-time viewer is probably not going to buy the first time they're ever seeing you. So you can kind of curate your call to actions that way too, where maybe there's like a discoverable video points to another discoverable video, and then maybe that one points to a sales video, where you're kind of driving traffic from other videos. But at that point, this person has some trust. They kind of have grown to like you a little bit. Maybe at that point, they're ready to make a transaction. But yeah, what does a sales call to action look like? How is it different from what we've been talking about so far?
Well, I noticed that you left out the community part of that in between there as well. Don't forget about that too, adding a community video.
Yeah, that can be super helpful as well.
Build the know, like, and trust factor even more before you go to make a sale.
Because you said pitching to the same audience. I'd question if you have an audience that you're just pitching to nobody at this point. People are watching, but are they an audience right now? Or are you just kind of pitching to like? Because I've had this in consultations. Someone's asked me, well, my channel's not growing. Every single video has been sending somebody off platform. I'm like, even if they're clicking on it, like they might click on it and they might even buy from you at that point because they don't know you well enough and just leave. Is it really benefiting you right now as opposed to building that trust first, right?
Yeah. I think the key with a sales call to action is positioning also that call to action. Where are you positioning it in the video? I talked about a channel that I was evaluating this morning and how they positioned the sales call to action right dead center in the video. Is it wrong? It made logical sense off of what had just happened, but then the rest of the video didn't make sense to me. So I would have just ended the video.
Yeah, or left the video to go buy the thing. Yeah.
They extended the story. So I would either extend the story and build more value before making the call to action, but I wouldn't necessarily make that call to action dead center. And I certainly wouldn't do it in the front part of a video, which I also see a lot of creators do.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Agreed. I guess there is a benefit. It's not always directly tied to the end screen, the last 20 seconds. But at the same time, you kind of hope there's a drop off when you give the call to action. Like you hope people are going to the website. So if you do it right at the beginning or like in the middle, you're probably going to have a drop off. It's kind of like, well, what's the purpose of that?
And I think the thing that's different, and this is another misconception too with sales call to actions, is people think that it has to fit into 20 seconds. And it doesn't. A sales call to action could be a minute long. You better be good at holding somebody during that time. But ideally, the thing that you're pitching solves the problem of whatever the whole video was about. So if we're talking about Notion, and we're talking about the productivity platform, and you have a template to sell, and you're talking about the problems that somebody experiences on Notion and how your template is the saving grace for that person that's going to save them time. It's going to save them, which will end up saving them money long term. You're going to deeply talk about those struggles leading up to that. And then the thing that you're pitching, that's where your sales call to action would go. It doesn't have to fit in a certain time frame.
So here's a question. YouTube is making a lot of updates and creating features around YouTube shopping, where you can link a product and actually attach it to a timestamp, almost like a card throughout a video. How would you approach sales call to actions around a product like that, as opposed to like sending somebody off of YouTube, like to another website?
I think it just, again, it has to make sense, right? And you just have to be okay with that. But they're shopping within YouTube. They're not necessarily leaving YouTube. And I think that's the key.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I think there's a lot of opportunity for that. I think you don't want to be too disruptive if there's like a ton of products that you're linking to and constantly throughout the video, it's like, and check the description or go check out this product right here. But it does create some opportunity where it's pretty seamless, where like if you're using the product in the video, maybe you don't even need a call to action and that product pops up on the screen. Or if there's a quick like little, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts, but if there's like a lower third text or something pops up, like like mentioning the product, and it doesn't really interrupt the flow of the video, you can have, and the person's not going to leave YouTube, which is pretty interesting.
Well, I think about the channel QVC, right? Where people, they call in or they're on their computer and they're buying whatever is being demonstrated. They're actively demonstrating the product on that shopping channel. And you're still on the phone trying to order it, or you're ordering it online, but you're still listening to what's going on because you want the value of what's being delivered. So I kind of think of YouTube shopping very similarly. So like you said, don't break the story. You're talking about the value of it, and you could have stuff pop up on the lower third, like you said, or it just becomes part of the natural flow in the story.
I mean, the whole video could be almost a call to action too. If that's the stories are leading up to the value of what the product is. Like somebody could talk about, let's say we were trying to sell coaching. It's like, I could talk about how a coach changed my life and how the impact it had on me and how I wanted to help other people. And that leading to me being at the very end a call to action to asking people, hey, I'd love to help you through the same things I've put. The whole video could be the entire call to action if you do it effectively, have a story around it.
I see a lot of creators also use live content very effectively and well for sales too. And there are call to actions throughout that, but there's still a lot of really important value going on even at the same time.
Yeah, that's interesting. And it makes sense because when you think about the person clicking into a live, they probably feel some sense of connection to you. Like it may probably not. It's going to be a first time viewer. So that person's probably more of a warm lead. They're probably ready to make some sort of a transaction. So even for videos like that, like it probably would be really helpful to have these other discoverable videos over here to sort of supplement those types of videos as well. I feel like we kind of skipped over community videos though.
Community content, able to establish a deep connection with somebody and really getting them to engage with you, I think is, for me, the biggest opportunity for call to actions. And to do that, it's really got to look, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's open-ended questions. Because if you just say, leave me a comment and, okay, why? Why should I just leave you a comment? But ask me something that I'm going to resonate with based off of something that you were talking about, something deeper in an open-ended format. So maybe, Blake, you are a master at open-ended questions.
Am I?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. That was a question.
Why don't you actually give the audience some ideas? You are very good at open-ended questions.
Okay. Should I do off a topic?
Shearing sheep.
Shearing sheep. Wonderful. Okay. I was hoping we'd go this way. Okay. No. Yeah, I think it's anything. I think that's going to provoke discussion too. So like it can be like, this is one technique that I've used to shear my sheep for years, but this may not be the best one. I'd love to hear your thoughts about what you guys find is the most effective way to shear your sheep that's safe, but also efficient. Let me know in the comments.
Love
That's excellent.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's an excellent question.
Yeah.
But you can see from that question though, it's not like just a 1, 2, 3 line worded answer. Generally, you're going to get rich comments. Means people love to talk.
Yeah.
People love to
And they
share
love
their
to talk.
opinions.
Yeah, share their opinions, share their stories. And that was an excellent way of getting his audience to talk about shearing sheep.
This channel is
done.
amazing.
Nicely
Love
done.
it.
I know,
It
this
is.
channel out there.
We're creating. This channel's going to happen. It is.
Yeah.
There's somebody out there this week that's been like, I want to start a sheep channel, but I'm not sure how to approach it. And we're just like, and we heard from somebody and we're just giving them, you're welcome.
I can't wait to read the comments on this one on YouTube.
Yeah. It's going to be like sheep shearer 2000 is leaving a comment. No, I think there's a lot of value in that because like I think about the comments or the creators that I feel the most compelled to leave comments on. And it's the ones where I could share my opinion on something. There's a soccer channel that I watch all the time, and they just kind of talk about the team that I follow, the team that I like. And he always will, whether it's kind of in the community posts or like good call to action comments in the videos, it'll be around things like, this is maybe my prediction for what the lineup is going to be this Saturday. What do you think? And so he leaves a good open-ended call to action. And I have an opinion on like who I think is going to play or maybe how the coach is going to arrange the team. And so it creates these really great engagements with the creator. And I'm super led to comment. Yeah. Versus kind of like if you made it this far, comment the color purple. It's just kind of like, okay, it doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah. And and here's the thing too. And this might maybe help flip somebody's perspective from only doing discoverable call to actions to also including the comments, because when you get people to engage with your content like this, if I'm going to leave a super rich comment, I'm becoming part of your community most likely, which means I'm most likely going to return and watch more. And that's super valuable.
I agree. And I think maybe just to kind of zoom us out, like as the creator, because coming back to the intent, that's kind of what we started with this episode. If you know what the intent is of each upload, whether it's, this will be a discoverable one, this will be community, maybe we're going to try to make our sale with this one. It's kind of nice and really empowering as a creator to feel like less out of control with things and more like we kind of have these levers we can pull on our end to sort of decide, what do we want our community to do from this video and how do we just effectively make that happen? Really, really helps just for kind of hitting our goals and growing our channel moving forward. Every week, we like to wrap up with a power tip. And today I want to talk about a couple of just new AI updates that YouTube's beginning to experiment with and roll out. And the first one is called UChat. And it's pretty interesting. It's basically going to be kind of a chat feature that as a viewer, you can scroll down towards the comment section and there will be a little ask button. So if you have questions about the video, anything in particular, AI will actually answer some of those questions for you about the video. So before moving on to the other one, I guess I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts around that.
It's interesting.
I don't like it. I think it's weird. I don't know. I don't want AI messaging me back in the comments. That defeats the purpose of it for me.
Yeah,
I agree.
I don't know. Because I'm trying to think of what I would actually ask. Does this video cover blank? I don't know.
Is this actually a sheep? I feel like it would, I wouldn't want it to be the kind of thing where somebody may not want to actually comment and talk to the creator if they could just talk to AI instead.
True.
I feel like if they had a question about the video, they would just ask AI instead. I don't know.
Honestly, when I get this
AI truly looking to replace us?
Oh, maybe.
I hope not.
I don't know. When I get those AI features, like I was talking with Sam earlier about one in Snapchat, I just like to screw with it. I just ask it dumb questions just to play with it. So I was like, is it going to be meaningful? I feel like I know a lot of people just like play around with it. Don't actually, like, especially when it comes to YouTube. I don't know. What am I going to do with it on YouTube? Another thought too, like maybe it will tell me where to go find something in the video and I'll skip ahead and miss the rest of the video because I'm looking for something specific.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there are so many interesting tools that they're putting out, especially recently over the last couple months. So I am curious to see how this all kind of impacts retention and other things like commenting. I could see actually more engagement maybe going up, maybe asking questions. Maybe it gets people to comment more. It is quite possible, but maybe that also sparks conversation. So I think, naturally when I hear anything AI, there's two sides of my brain. One is like, ooh, is this going to help me somehow? And then the other side is, are they trying to replace me? That's the other side. But kind of thinking of the bigger picture is, what are the positives of this?
Yeah, I agree. Or will it be something that's just maybe not used very much?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that, which is pretty interesting. And then sort of another kind of comment related AI update is I think this is going to be mainly for bigger channels, but they're basically going to categorize comments almost into like comment groups. So AI will basically determine, if there is a particular sentiment or a lot of similar like-minded comments, it'll sort of make it easier for the viewer to scroll down and just kind of get a gist of how people feel about the content. But for the creator too, I imagine like a Mr. Beast type of channel, they would be able to scroll down and instead of trying to read every single comment, they could read sort of these groups and just kind of get an idea more quickly of here's what the content is about. So
I guess it could help with like preparation for a Q&A video with your audience. You could just ask them in advance, especially if it's a larger audience. Yeah.
Great use case. Yeah, that's a great idea.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of play around with these things and see the impact that it has long term. To see how we can maybe utilize this to our advantage.
Thanks for listening to another Video Creators Podcast. We'll see you next week.